Hi, everybody. I am so excited to get this going today. I'm going to wait for a few more people to show up, but Shannon from Hidey Apparel is joining me today for a very, very exciting live, and she just requested to join. All right, she should be here any second. So we're just waiting on Shannon. Hi!
I'm here. Hi, Kara. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm excited to see your beautiful face and talk to all of the nurses about starting a business and say thank you to them for being a nurse because it's a job I could literally never do because I see blood and I'm like, whoop.
I just absolutely adore you. First of all, we'll just have like a little like love fest for a second. Absolutely love you as a human being, as a female entrepreneur, just business owner, badass, the whole nine yards. Like, I just think that you are fabulous. And you're in your 20s, right? You're still like in your later 20s, right?
7.
And man, I wish I had had my shit together then. Like, I really do. I really wish like I had had it together. And
I'm
like,
sure you did. You're just
not.
being modest.
I did not. I certainly didn't have it together like you've got it together. I was just becoming a nurse. It was my second career. Yeah, it was my second career. I was an entrepreneur, by the way, like putting myself through nursing school. I ran my own swim school.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, so I've been an entrepreneur for a while, and I had a pretty booming business as a swim instructor, private swim instructor. So, it's been a long journey, but yeah, I was a sign language interpreter first, then I was a swim instructor and put myself. So there's so much that like gets us to where we are and grooms us. And I think Jolene said it perfectly that, yeah, everything that we go through is what brings us to today.
Yes.
And it grooms us. It absolutely grooms us for the ability to run a company and to be in really stressful situations and to not lose it in those really stressful situations, to be able to, get that control, to be able to hone your message and deliver it and be heard and everything. So I'm just always impressed with how you have navigated, first of all, this pandemic.
Craziness. And you too with Holly Blue and being a nurse during a pandemic. Let's clap for all the nurses during COVID for helping other people and getting through that super stressful time of being a nurse, because I am not a nurse, but I hear stories from you and from all of my other nurse friends that just, it blows my mind what nurses go through to take care of us and how underappreciated sometimes it can be. And so I'm really happy to be on right now and to talk to the nurses and talk about both of our entrepreneur stories. And, maybe they want to start a business, or maybe they just need to hear about some real raw stories. Because my favorite thing about you, Kara, is how raw you are. You are just so genuine and so raw. And like, this is what's going on. And there's no BS about it. And I think women need to be more in tune with that. So I'm so excited to be here and chat with you about the real raw stuff.
Yes, and boy, is there some raw stuff. So being a female founder, like I used to be the type of person where I was like, you know what, like I've got the same shot that everybody else has got. I never saw myself as like an underdog. Like, I never was like, oh, I'm a woman, so I'm not getting the funding that these other people are getting, or I'm a woman in technology, and I may not be, there may not be many women in technology, but I really never saw myself as less than or not having the same opportunities. But, it's interesting, even though I don't see myself that way and I continue to not see myself that way.
Right.
It is true that
Mhm.
women have a more difficult time. You know, we only know what we know, so it's
Right.
hard to compare, right?
Right.
But absolutely, have I noticed the differences between male tech founders and male nurse founders and the money that they've received? And you know, it's just so incredibly different.
Right.
And you have to fight a little harder. Like I will
Yeah.
say, like, you know, just to get that seat at the table, right?
Mhm.
Erin, I
Right.
miss you too.
Aw.
I have to give a little shout out to my girl there. So, you know, for sure, do women have to like stand up and be heard and have a voice? And you know, sometimes we're seen as, you know, bitchy instead of assertive,
Yeah.
and you know, and so I think that it's really, really important that we honor ourselves. And I
Mhm.
think you've done just a beautiful job of being gorgeous. You know, yeah, absolutely. You know, you show up and you're beautiful, and you put your makeup on and you get yourself all decked out, but damn, are you a boss lady? Like you are a boss.
Thank
So, you know,
you.
you don't have to like, you know, you don't have to ditch
No.
all the pretty stuff.
Yeah, and you don't have to only have one thing. So I love how Georgie, Nurse Georgie, how she has her platform of you can be both. You can be a nurse, you can be an entrepreneur. You can be a nurse and be a mom. You can be a nurse and be whatever you want to be. You don't just have to settle and be one thing. You don't just have to settle and be a mom. Like society has taught us, you know, these Disney movies have taught us that we have to grow up and we have to meet the man who's going to save us, and these crappy old Disney movies of having a savior. And our generations are now like, no, we are our saviors. We can do all of it, and nobody's going to stop me. And I think that's so beautiful how this generation is getting into it. And if I may mention Taylor Swift, have you heard of the song? It's like a man or something. Like if
I'm
I
the
was a man.
worst, by the way, like with names of songs and names
Yeah,
of like of like performers or actors. I'm the worst.
me
But
too.
I'm
Yeah.
sure. Have I heard it? Probably.
She's just saying if I was a man, like she's considered, like people call her a B word sometimes, as opposed with the things she's doing and the successes she's doing. And if it was a man, they'd be calling him a boss with the things that he would be doing, you know, because she's a very hard worker. She's into the money. She's into getting the fame out. She's into getting the songs out. She dates multiple people because she, you know, she's trying to find the right fit, and she's judged for doing that because she's a woman, but it's acceptable for a man to do all of those things. So in the song, she's just saying, like, if I was a man, then it would be a lot easier type of situation.
Yeah, it's true. You know, but that being said, it's like I wouldn't have it any other way,
Yeah.
right? Like
Women
I
are
wouldn't have it
powerful.
any other way. Like I love the fact that you know what? It lights a fire under my ass. Like every single time someone, you know, says like, oh, no, thank you. Or, you know, we don't see a fit, or we don't, you know, like it always lights a fire under
Right.
my, you know, and, you know, oftentimes I've seen some of these like other entrepreneurs who early on have gotten funding, and funding is like, you know, I think Jolene asked earlier, like tips, you know, tips and things, you know, for starting a business.
Yeah.
You know, when it comes to funding,
Yeah.
you know, you and I have done things, we're great, like opposites in a lot of ways, because you are 100% owner of your company. You don't have any partners. You don't have any investors yet. I say yet because you may someday. Um, and I started out very, very differently. You know, I actually did not believe in myself as much as I should have. I felt like I had to do it with other people, but then I ended up like doing a lot of it myself. But like
Right.
I didn't have that faith in
Right.
myself that
Like a
that
lot
I
of
could do
women
this.
don't.
Like I was like, I have to bring in other people to help me.
Right.
And you know what? That was a great learning experience. And those people were really, really necessary at that time, really helpful during that time.
Yeah.
But figuring out, first of all, having faith in yourself. Okay. Like that to me, believing in yourself is such a huge one. Okay. And because who you get into business with, like, it's a partnership, it's a marriage. Like it's tough. It's tough in the beginning, you know? So figuring out, like, do you need money to start out your business? Do you have to bring on, can you self-fund, or can you, do you need to have an investor?
Well, and it was hard starting a business too. So I was 19 when I had the idea of Hidey Socks, and obviously, eating off the dollar menu at Taco Bell and paying rent, it's expensive to live on your own and trying to figure out your life. And so no banks wanted to give me a loan because I wasn't in business for 3 years. And I remember being like, how are people supposed to start a business and get funds if you haven't been in business for 3 years? And I was just like so irritated with our lack of support for small businesses, especially young entrepreneurs who have this great idea. Imagine where I would be, or imagine how people wouldn't be able to have Hidey Socks if I had allowed that bank to tell me no, and I just gave up on the idea. Like, thousands of people have been touched, and it has helped their lives. These Hidey Socks that they do the purpose of not falling off your feet, right? It's a solution, but it's helped so many people. And if I would have given up after that bank would have told me no, because you haven't been in business for 3 years, this wouldn't have happened. And I think it's very important for a lot of people to understand that if this door shuts and says no, there's always another option. And honestly, how I started the business, which isn't the best way to do it, but I bootstrapped it. I opened up a credit card. I only got like approved for $2,000 in the beginning. So what I did was I called the bank and I said, oh, hey, I'm thinking about buying a fixer-upper home and I'm needing a larger credit line. Would you mind just approving me for, I don't know, like $20,000? And the guy, he asked me all the questions and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna have to call you back tomorrow. I'm gonna have to talk to like some executives. So he calls me back tomorrow and they approved me for that loan and for that credit increase for the credit card. And that's what I had to do. And I told myself, Shannon, in 15 months, you're going to get charged 20% interest. You better pay this all back completely within that time. And I did. And that's how I started the business, because it took more than $2,000-$3,000 to start it. And so it's a good way.
Absolutely. It is, and along the way, and I'll speak to what Alex asked. Alex asked about, writing a business plan. I used to joke that was like the bane of my existence, was writing the business plan, because it was a constantly evolving document.
Right.
If you looked at my original business plan and you looked at my deck today,
different.
It's like a completely different business. I mean, like it's amazing how much it has evolved. I originally had my deck created through Fundable. I paid like $5,000 to have a deck created. Oh yeah. Like just farmed out like this money. Like I had this whole idea, like you have to pay money to get money, and you have to like all these philosophies and belief systems that change over time.
Right.
I'm much more of a person that actually, I operate so much more on faith now than I ever did before.
Right.
And divine intervention, and just kind of knowing that everything is as it should be at the moment, which is a really hard place to get to, especially when you are jumping through lots of hoops and obstacles and all these no's are coming at you. And so for me, some of the number one things are tenacity. Like what makes a good business owner? What makes a successful business owner? I guess I should say, like, what gets you to the finish line? Even though I'm still not sure where that finish line is. Like I keep thinking I'm seeing it, and I feel like I'm in like the longest marathon of my life, and people like stopped like handing out towels and water a really long time ago, and I'm just like, where are all like I need some water.
Yeah.
And I thought I saw the finish line, but now I don't see it anymore. And it's like they keep moving it. And so tenacity is a huge one.
Right.
But also like taking breaks when you
Yeah.
need to take breaks. Like,
Okay. I'm so happy you said this because it's so huge. I have burned myself out so many times because when I first started the business, I had a corporate job and I was doing this full time and I was only getting like 4 hours of sleep at night. And in my mind, I was constantly listening to Gary Vaynerchuk, if you guys know who that is. He is a very motivational, in your face, like no BS kind of guy. And in my mind, I was like, I gotta do this. I gotta work all these hours. Because my business is only gonna grow if I do this, and I'm only gonna make sales if I work 16 hours a day. And oh my God. And I would burn myself out. And once a month, I'd be crying on my office floor in a ball because I was so stressed out and I wasn't taking care of me. And this has been the last year of me going, no, Shannon, your body, your mind, and your soul are before the business. Because if you don't put those before the business, you will burn out and you won't be able to help the people that you're wanting to help. And so I'm so happy that you brought that up because, yes, it's about tenacity and it's about continuing to go, even when you don't feel like going. But it's also self-care and doing the things that make you happy.
yep, absolutely. 100%. Because I've noticed that everything starts to open up for me. I have this saying in business that there's sometimes, when they run a break on the freeway,
Yeah.
when the CHP runs a
Yeah.
break on the freeway and everyone's behind the brake, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
There are times when I feel like I'm behind the brake and I'm like, what is happening up there? Like, what's going on? Like, why are we not moving? And what's happening? And I can't see the obstacle, but someone's running a brake.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel, right?
Yeah.
And then
That's good.
when I sit back and I just go, all right, you know what? I don't know what's going on up there. Maybe there's a car accident, maybe right? But I don't know what's happening up ahead.
Right.
And something is slowing me down. And for some reason, I need to slow down and I need to just give into it. Like,
Right.
I just need to sit back and be in a place of allowing. And the minute I do that, I have this like instantaneous feeling of being the person who's in front of the break. When like you realize that you just missed the break and the guy's behind you weaving and you have the whole freeway to yourself? Like, that's how I feel once I've like actually sat back and said, all right, you know what? Maybe I don't know what's going on. And I need to take a big old breath and I need to just focus on myself and listen to some music and do something for myself and just sit here in this and be uncomfortable, but just sit in it. And then boom.
Yep.
Everything will kind of right itself.
I agree 100%. And it's so awesome for everybody listening to hear that. And I don't know who all is listening, like, where are you guys at? Are you guys thinking about wanting to start a business? Are you already starting a business? Are you at that point that Kara and I are talking about? I would love to kind of get feedback and hear what people want to hear from us because you want to hear about their journey. Like, how can I help you? What kind of
There's
advice?
room for another person, by the way. We can always invite like a female. We can always invite somebody to come in if we want to ask them. But anybody, like, I'm always about the impromptu stuff. You never know what's going to happen. But if somebody's really like chomping at the bit, wants to join us here and wants to even ask a question, or you can ask it down in the comment section, and we can answer you.
Honestly,
we both have really different experiences that we can bring to the table. So if you have questions about investment, if you have questions about pitching, decks, investment decks, sales decks, kind of all that kind of stuff, like technology, probably your lady, but when it comes to like product, like, and self-starter and, just literally like a grassroots approach to, building your own business, Shannon, like all the way, right? Totally all the way.
So Nurses It All asked woman certified ? And I'm thinking what she's asking is you can have your business be certified as a woman owned business. And I did try to do it about a year or two ago. And after applying for it, I realized it was a few $1,000s. to become one. And I just didn't want to use that money to say, oh, I'm a woman certified business, because I am a woman certified business. I'm the CEO, I'm the founder. So I feel like me saying that is enough. And I'm not at that point where I want to give thousands of dollars just to have that label. In the future, sure. But for now, most of my money goes towards marketing of the business, because I have a great product. The most difficult thing is getting the word out there, and marketing is very expensive. So I hope that answered your question.
That's a good one. See, I didn't even know that, but I didn't even realize that you could certify your business. I thought they just looked at me and said, she looks like a woman.
I love
she has founder and CEO under her name.
That's good enough, right?
It wasn't clear enough. Sorry. They want me to pay for that.
Yeah, thousands of dollars. Like, first of all, why don't you support my small business? If you know anything about small businesses, you know it's constant, month to month. Okay, we have this money for this. We have this money for this. We have this money for this. We're not multi-million-dollar businesses yet. Yes. So there needs to be a whole better system for helping with small business, because honestly, it's very difficult. There's not a handbook for it. That's why I love doing these lives and talking with other people about it, because you just don't know what you don't know. Do you want to get one of the other questions?
I do. I actually saw, I like two of them. Alex, Alex said, can you walk us through the research and development process what that looks like? So when you were doing, because you started out with socks, which, by the way, I'm just going to take a minute. And I'm actually bragging on how flexible I am.
Yeah, I'm because in my mind, I'm like
holding my foot way, way up in the air. So this is the Hidey sock. Awesome, right? And I'll just give a shout out to Clove, because Clove just sent me their awesome new lavender shoe, which, by the way, these socks look awesome with this shoe. Okay, so these are the little blue crystals. And these are Swarovski crystals, and they just look awesome. And by the way, I got the biggest compliment when I was with a patient the other day. She was like, oh my God, she goes, your socks are amazing. And I was like, thank you.
I'm just going to send you some, and whenever a patient says that, you'd be like, you get a sock, you get a sock, you get a sock.
You get a sock.
Hey, be in the hospital socks, that would cheer somebody up so much.
So what ended up happening, when you decided that you were going to make this sock, and you had to do research and development, how did you do that?
So Google's my best friend. I love Google. And so what I did was, it was the idea of, first, I was just irritated with the original no-show socks slipping off my feet, right? So first I just Googled if there was a solution, and there wasn't. I'm Googling, trying to find non-slip socks, something that would work. Wasn't anything. So then that's when I designed these. I literally got an regular ankle strap and cut out the design, because I figured if you keep a strap around the ankle, then it won't slip off. So I did that for me, and I didn't even think about trying to get into a business after I spoke with a few different women, and I realized they had the same problem. Then I was like, oh my gosh, I just redesigned a sock. This is a good product. How do I do it? So then I went on Google again, and I researched to see if there's any other competitors. There wasn't for what I was trying to do. I want these socks to work with flats, high heels. They're not just yoga socks or Pilates socks. You can really wear them with let me see if I can do this. You can really wear them with
nice, you did it.
Look, it hurts. It's very painful. My pants might rip any second, but yes. So that's what I wanted them to design for. So I researched it, didn't find anything at all. And then what I tried to do was I tried doing pre-orders, which honestly, it didn't work out that well, because since this is such a new product, or it was a new product when I started it, and a lot of people didn't know, I had to spend a lot of money on marketing. I had to do the vendor events in person, which are a lot of work just to get the word out. And then it was cool because then people were coming and I was hearing their feedback. And originally the socks didn't have Swarovski crystals on them. And at this point, I had 5,000 pairs of socks with no crystals, and I had to figure out how to change it up so that way they would sell better. And actually, a guy at one of my vendor events years ago, he's like, why don't you add sparkles or something on the strap? A guy told me this. I was like, that's a great idea. And so that's why I started putting the sparkles on them. So honestly, research and development, Google it, see if there's a competitor. If there's not, then run through with your product. I will say that a lot of the times with product-based businesses, in order to get the best price, you have to order in bulk. Like I think my first order was 5,000 pairs, which is an investment, right, in wanting to sell it. But when I first got them and they weren't selling that well, I had to revise it and I had to pivot. And so I think that's going to be the best thing for a product is if you get it and it's not selling that great, how do you pivot to change it to try and get people to really see the potential behind it?
Yeah, I like that you mentioned pivot because pivoting is, so you don't want to pivot too much and you don't want to pivot too little, right? So like there's that you don't want to be changing your product so much that you lose sight of your original
Idea.
goal, right? Your original product or your vision, so it's really important to have a good mission, statement, a good vision statement,
Right.
early on, because
Right.
that is really like your North Star.
Yeah.
I find for me, we had a mission statement called, building a vibrant community where nurses thrive, right?
Right.
And then our vision was a world where empowered nurses transform healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
So every single time we had this opportunity to pivot, I would go back to the mission statement. I would go back to the vision statement. Is this in line with my core belief?
Right.
And where I started. And I will tell you that my very first mission statement, first of all, it was long and wordy.
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell you what it was today. Like it was really wordy and long, but the sentiment behind it was still the same.
Right.
So yes, I started to, hone it down and concentrate it over time to where now it's like one sentence.
Right.
But the feeling behind it has always been the same.
Which you need it because you need to have purpose. So whatever you're doing, whether it's a product-based business or it's an app, what is your purpose? Why are you doing this? And how is it going to help other people? It's not about you. It's not about the product. It's not about the app. It's about the people. How is it going to help them? Because once you realize that, even when you go through difficult times and you're exhausted and, you're a little contemplating about it, when you have your purpose and when you have your mission statement, you go back to that and you tell yourself, this is why I'm doing it.
Yep. So Coach 𝗥𝗨𝗟𝗘𝗦 and then I'll Better with Brandy both asked questions. I'll start with Coach 𝗥𝗨𝗟 and then we'll go to Brandy. Did you apply for a patent and update with revisions? Did you?
Yes. Yes. Which is very expensive. Very, very expensive. I've spent thousands of dollars and the product is still under patent pending because one, it takes a long time, it takes thousands of dollars also. And then the third thing that happened was COVID. So for the last year and a half, it's kind of been like at a halt with the patent pending. And it's also very difficult to patent clothing. So you're going to spend a lot of money talking to the attorney, trying to figure out ways to do it. My attorney had originally told me that he didn't think that we'd be able to do it. And then I was the one who figured out how we were going to do it and get around what he was trying to tell me not to. So I believe in patent pending. I know a lot of people are skeptical about it. Like Gary Vee would say, not to waste your money on patent pending, because he would say, create a product, sell the blank out of it, and then move on to your next one. But that's not how I am with my products. I am a little bit more emotional to my products. I mean, this is my design and it's my baby and I'm very passionate about it. And so I don't think I will ever get rid of it or sell it. Maybe, but I highly doubt that. So that's why I invested that extra money to patent it.
Yeah. And there's absolutely two schools of thought on that. Like some people will say like, don't get emotional. Don't get, don't get emotional to emotionally connected to your product. And I don't think that there's a right or a wrong way at all. I think that, you have to do whatever you're going to do. Some people leave their product patent pending forever. They
Right.
never, it's just always patent pending.
Right.
And sometimes that's actually enough to dissuade other people from trying to knock off your product because you're patent pending.
Exactly.
So some people just leave it in patent pending forever and ever and ever. And they never actually complete the patent. That's actually a tactic. Yeah. So that is a tactic.
It's a good one. And I honestly, it depends what your goal is, you know, like what are you doing with the product? I agree that you shouldn't always be emotional about it, but I also know if I wasn't as passionate about Hidey socks, I wouldn't have been able to take it to where it is today. I literally invest all my money and all my time into this product. And if I wasn't passionate about it, would I be able to do all of the hard work that I do for it? I don't know. Like I would maybe be the person who just wants to do a product like Gary Vee says, and then move on to the next one and don't worry if other people copying it, you're on to the next one. So I like that I'm so passionate about it personally.
Yeah. Yeah. And there comes a time, sometimes that changes over time, you know, and
Right.
how you feel about your company and, you know, we did have, Holly Blue had an acquisition, you know, kind of offer early on and it was a really tough, it ended up not happening. Obviously I'm still here.
Right.
But I had to wrap my brain around it and think, do I want to do this? Do I want to do this? And it's really, really, really tough
Right.
to do. But, you know, you end up looking at the company and you're like, do I want to see it thrive? Do I want to see it, you know, grow? And what, you know, maybe I need to do that to make it grow, you know, and
where are you going with it? So the big thing why I patented it was because I want to get on Shark Tank. So if I get on Shark Tank, when I get on Shark Tank, they very much value that your product is patented. So, I mean, what's your goal? What are you trying to do with it is what I would always take into consideration.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And really, you know what? There's no mistakes. You know, people always say, what was your biggest mistake? There's no mistakes because everything is as it should be.
Yes.
Is it challenging? Are there times where you're like, oh man, whew, that was a rough time? Like, you know, I oftentimes get down to like almost nothing in the bank and then something comes. And I always joke with like the universe. I'm like, why does this have to be so hard? what does this ever get any easier? But I do want to go back to what Brandy said. She said, how did you find someone to make it? And did you just make your own at first? Which I know you did do the cutting kind of yourself at first. You made your own kind of prototype. But what was the process for you of like going to actually find someone to make it for you?
Okay, so the socks themselves, so the Swarovski crystals are put on here in California. So in order to put these crystals on, first of all, there's no machine out there that does it. I am currently working with an engineer to try and build one, but there's no machine that does that. So this is done here, and I had to create templates in order to do it to make sure that the crystals were aligned and that they would be applied onto the sock with the even amount of space, and that also they would be applied correctly and toughly so that way you can throw them in the washer and dryer and the crystals won't fall off. So that's the majority of the work that I had to design. But the sock itself is sewn out of seas, so it's not here in the US. And I was able to do that because I actually had a corporate job where I was at for 6 years. In my corporate job, I had coworkers in China, and they were doing all of the factory stuff, and they spoke English and they also spoke Chinese. They lived in China. And so when I first had the idea, I sent them samples of what I had cut out of the sock. I said, this is what I'm looking for. Can you help me find a factory? And they did. And it wasn't like the first factory was the factory for me, but we had to go through different ones. And then not only that, but once we found a factory in China, we had to send samples back and forth. And I will say this about China, they are not very detail oriented. They think if the product is 90% that it's good enough. And I'm like, no, it has to be 100% what I'm wanting. So
Yeah.
if you are going to go out of season, I would recommend Japan. If I had to do it again, I would go to Japan and find somebody. And honestly, I don't have any coworkers in Japan. However, the internet connects you with everybody. Everybody. I mean,
Yeah.
the website Alibaba, there's so many different websites out there that can connect you with people who are not in the US if you want to do it. And I will also say this, I will eventually move the product completely to the US one day. But as of right now, being a small business owner, I cannot afford to have somebody in the US do it. And I already got quotes for it. It's like 15 times the price. And the socks are already expensive as it is. They're $19.99, $24.99 a pair. So imagine how much more they would be if I got them made in the
Yeah.
US without the budget. So that's how I did it, was I found a factory through a coworker. But honestly, go online. I'm sure you can find factories. And also a good way to find factories is going to trade shows. They literally have trade shows about every industry. So for apparel, we have a trade show in Vegas called the Magic Show and the Wind Show. And factory owners and managers will go to those shows to try and connect with stores and people wanting to manufacture as well.
Yep. Yeah, that is a great place. Conventions and trade shows and all of that stuff is a really, really great way to find places. It's been really tough with COVID, you know.
Right. They're all online.
Everything's online now. Everything's virtual. It's much more challenging than it used to be. But hopefully that's going to open up soon, and it won't be as difficult. You know, but I had to do something very similar. You know, when I was first starting Holly Blue, I would go to like the home health convention, you know, and they're expensive too, though, for vendors. You know, sometimes it's very, very expensive to go as a vendor because they know that they're connecting you with all of the people that you potentially need, even your consumer. So it's very expensive to go and do those things, but it's a great experience. Like I said, I don't like to say that there's really any mistakes. It's just all learning opportunities.
Yeah, and finding different ways. When I first went to the shows, I didn't have you know what? I'm sorry. The first time I went to the show, my sales rep, she had a booth, but it wasn't a corporate booth. Like, it wasn't just for me. She also had other product lines, and we would all split the cost. However, when she stopped being my sales rep, she moved to Texas. I would go to the shows by myself and with a team member, and we would literally just walk around the show and talk to people. I did not invest $10,000 to have my own corporate booth because I'm a talker, and I figured I would just walk and meet the people who I was supposed to meet, and I did. I hired sales reps through going to those shows. I have met new retail stores, boutiques who carry the product now. So just go out and talk, even if you're an introvert, and I know it's sometimes really hard to do that. You can even meet people at like the lunch tables. All the lunch tables, you're co-mingling with other people, just sit there, and whoever sits at your table, strike up a conversation.
Absolutely. I can't say enough how important that is. A lot of times when people have an idea, they are like, oh my God, I don't want to tell anybody about my idea. Because if I tell somebody about my idea, then they're going to steal it. And then, and it's like they want to like put, you know, chicken wire and fencing and a wall around it. And the problem is that when you don't have faith that you are doing what you are meant to do.
Right.
And that no one can do it exactly the same as you. Why? Because they're not you. They're not you. They don't have your connections. They don't have your personality. They don't have your ideas. They don't have your ingenuity and your friends and your support network. They are not you. So I literally like to tell people, oh, Mama B's here. Hi, Mom.
I have to give shout out. Oh, hi.
I have to say hi. So, you know, you absolutely have to talk and talk and talk and talk about what you're doing, bring it to life so that other people can come in and help you, because that is actually where you end up with these amazing resources and connections and
Jolene, so I met Jolene through the trade show. So I have to give her a shout out because that's why I met Jolene. The reason why I know you, Kara, is through Jolene. So I literally have this relationship between you and I because I went to that trade show, met Jolene, Hired Jolene. Jolene did my social media for years and absolutely amazing at it. And now Jolene's on your team, so you know just how much of a rock star Jolene is. And now you and I are connected. So that's super exciting. So I hope that encourages people to go and do those things. And then another shout out. So Better with Brandy is a Hidey affiliate. She is on. She's so sweet. She's like, next time I'll go with you. Even though she lives in Texas, I absolutely love it. So she's a Hidey affiliate, which means she gets a discount code to give out to people. And when they use that discount code, she gets commission. So she's on here. Hey, Brandy, thanks for joining.
Hi. And I have to send some of these socks over to, it says Happy HRH, but that's Mama B. I have to send some of these socks to her because she would absolutely love them. I don't know if she's still on, but Mom, look at these socks. They are amazing. They have like these little Swarovski crystals on them. And yep, and there we go. We're actually having a limber contest to see who is more limber than the other person.
Kara is, I'm obviously struggling.
But I have to send some of these out to the people that I love and adore. So I just wanted to say, like, you know, we're actually coming up on like the 45-minute mark, which is amazing. So much, I know we spent so much time on here. So I want to say, you know, yes, there's a code that you can purchase with. So we have a HollyBlue20 code. Thank you so much for that, by the way. We love our code.
Yes. And so whenever you guys use that code, it's HollyBlue20. Make sure you spell Holly Blue correctly. It's HOLLIBLU 20. And whenever somebody uses that code, we donate 20% back to Holly Blue. So you are supporting my small business. We are supporting Holly Blue and Kara. So I hope you guys do that and get you some Hidey socks. And there's a product in my product page that I never took off. It's the Nurse Holly Blue. Remember we did the aquamarine crystal just for you? Well, that's still on there. And you could use it for the aquamarine crystals, the crystals.
And I don't know if you can see this, but look, okay, hold on. That's the butterfly crystal that you made specifically. Can you see that?
I can. It's in the middle. I did those just for Kara.
Yes, and I loved them. I love them, love them, love them. So, and I do want to say really quickly, because Jolene asked, you know, is it important to give to a charity or give back to a cause? Absolutely. So Holly Blue, we are actually a for-profit company, but we're a very altruistic and give back type of company. And we try to do a lot of support for like Show Me Your Stethoscope, which is a nonprofit that supports nurses. And we try to just work in a lot of just giving back. Just giving back, I think, is super, super, super important no matter what you're doing. And I know that Hidey Socks, Hidey Apparel, because you've expanded out to all these like other awesome things, is also a big believer in the give back.
Yeah, we just started donating 15% of all of our sales to the Boys and Girls Club, and we wrote our first check to them for March, and it was $1,000.
I'm just gonna give you a huge shout out for that. I saw all those pictures and like the check and everything. I was like, oh man, get it, girl.
I gotta tell you, this little girl from the Boys and Girls Club painted me this as a thank you.
Oh, I love it. I love it. That's the stuff right there. That's what it's all like worth it. It's all worth it when you get stuff like that. That's the stuff that keeps you going.
Yeah. So shout out to Natalie from the Boys and Girls Club of Kern County. I absolutely love it. It's in my office.
Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. Well, you are beautiful. You are amazing. You're a boss lady. You're killing it out there. And you know, I just think that we have to support each other. I'm a huge believer in being a mentor. So never hesitate, anybody out there. A huge way for us to give back is to give little words of advice and to help you on your journey. I believe that I keep saying I'm going to write a book called Standing on the Shoulders of Giants, because I feel like I've been on the shoulder. I've been the one on the shoulder. And then I've been the one who's like pulling someone up, you know,
Right.
to kind of stand on mine.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a process. So, you know, just never hesitate to reach out to people. Look for mentors when you're going to start a business.
Yeah.
And because it helps so much to have a mentor.
It does. That's what I would do differently if I could go back and do it again. Definitely have a mentor. And just, I think my best piece of advice for business and life in general is honestly always expecting hurdles. Because when you expect hurdles and they come, you're not that shocked by it, right? You're not that surprised. You're like, oh, just another hurdle. I'm just going to jump over it. And then you're going to jump over it. And you know what? If you fall and eat crap, it's okay. Like, we've all fallen and eaten crap. And you just get back up and you keep going. And I think I love this way of thinking, because when I was in high school, I actually used to do hurdles. And the very first race that my mom came to, she didn't go to a lot because she was always working, you know, being a single mom. The first one she goes to, the second to last hurdle, I eat crap and I fall. And I remember just being so embarrassed, but I got back up and I still didn't get last. I got second to last, but still, you know, it's getting through the hurdles, falling through them, getting back up and doing it over again and expecting them, because it's not that much of a crazy influence if you expect them. So
Yep.
I hope that you guys can navigate through it. I hope that whatever idea you guys are thinking about doing, I hope you go for it. I hope you realize that you can do both and do everything that you want to do, and it's not limited. And we have so many resources in today's society. It's mind blowing. Oh, and also if you want to open up a website, use Shopify.com. It is my absolute favorite. It's like $30 a month. They have a bunch of free apps that you could like plug in and do different things. And it's just very easy to navigate. That's what I started with almost 5 years ago. And I still use it to this day.
Yep. There are so many great tools out there. There's also so many tools that you can have too many tools. So like, you know, but it's an entire journey. You go through it, you learn, you overcome, and you know, you end up becoming more and more resilient. The more obstacles and the more hurdles that you jump over, and the more you fall on, and the more times you get up, the more times you realize you're going to get up, and that you're going to keep getting up. And so, you know, if that's the takeaway for today, it's just, you know what? If you have an idea, do it. Just give it your all. Believe in it. Have faith that, you know, if it's meant to work out, it will work out. And, you know, I'm just incredibly happy to have had Shannon here with me today. And I just admire you so much as a human being, first and foremost. And as a female entrepreneur, I give you all my blessings.
I have God bumps right now from you saying that. You know, I love you and I cherish and I value you so much. And you have become one of my all-time favorite people in this whole entire world. So thank you for having me. Thank you for designing a platform, Kara, Polyblue, to help nurses and connect nurses and be real with nurses, because I know that your platform has touched so many people. And I'm so proud of you for doing that.
Thank you so much. That means the world to me. Well, we kicked off our week doing something awesome. I want to thank everybody for coming. Is there a giveaway we can enter? Alex just reminded us that there's probably a giveaway. What do you want to give away? Do it.
Okay. So we almost forgot the giveaway. We're doing a $50 e-gift card for anything of Hidey socks. So what we're going to do is, after this live is done, we're both going to post it on our social media feeds. And how you enter is by tagging people and commenting. And each comment is an entry into the giveaway. So make sure you tag all your people. If you know nurse friends, please tag them so that way they could hear about Polyblue and be connected with a platform that cares about them, gives them resources, supports them, and loves on them. I would love, love, love to see so many nurses just sign up for Holly Blue because I know it's absolutely amazing and life-changing for them. So please tag people. Please share this video. Please share it on your feed if you can, on your stories. Share, share, share to help us get the word out about Holly Blue. And for you guys sharing, I will reward somebody with a $50 e-gift card.
You killed it. That is awesome.
Did I get everything?
You did. You got everything. Everything, everything, everything. And who doesn't want $50? Come on. Right? Who doesn't want $50?
That's what I'm saying.
I want $50.
And even if you're not crazy about the socks, like we have very cute face masks too. So
you do. And you have those bra straps, which would look great with what I'm wearing because my bra strap keeps like coming and showing. And yours shows, but yours is all pretty. And mine is just a regular bra strap.
Exactly, right? So we can get you hooked up with Hidey bra straps, Hidey socks, Hidey mask. What you need, we'll get you hooked up with Hidey stuff.
Absolutely. You're my favorite brand. All right, guys. Have a great week, everybody. Don't forget to sign up for the giveaway. It's going to be on both of our platforms, so just check us out.
I did forget something. In order to enter, you have to like both Hidey Style's Instagram and you have to like Holly Blue's. You have to comment. And I think that's it. There may be one other thing.
You don't have to memorize this. We're going to put it in the caption.
Yes.
We will put it in the caption because memory, none of us have a good memory anymore.
Well, we love you guys so much. Thank you. What happened, Kara?
I said some of us do. Some of us have good memories. I do not. So.
Me neither. I'm like Dory. Thank God for pencils and pens. But thank you guys so much for joining. For everybody who tuned in, thank you for everybody who's going to comment. I'm so excited to see all those comments. Let's get going on the sharing and the commenting.
Yes.
And we will see you guys when we see you next time.
This is like Lord of the Rings. 5 endings. We have 5 endings to this. This is the final ending. We love you all. Mwah. Bye, everybody.